Hey, good morning everybody. This is Rob giving you an update from York Meadow Farm. Mom, Dad, and I talk a lot about providing an update, but we're always so busy we never really get around to doing it. So this morning, Mom and Dad are at the market. I've got one of what's likely the last few remaining Saturdays from Davis Tree Farm off, and I'm on my way up to the front gardens to get some work done for Ken and Cody now that we've got the tiller on the tractor and we're able to take a break from cutting grass. But I decided that this was actually a good time to pause and take a moment and give a brief little video update on our farm by taking a look at the two pieces of land next to ours and the status that they're in. And this will help kind of shed some light on what our land used to be. We'll take a quick look at what's going on now during the summer of 2019, and we'll be able to see some of the things that are going on that will influence the future. So let's take a look around. Come on. The pipeline on our driveway actually gives us a really good and easy point of access and viewing into the neighboring field. And what we can see here is a approximately 30-acre field that is traditionally farmed every year in grain of some kind, or beans. This year, on account of the wet spring we've had, farmers were real late in getting crops in, if they were able to get crops in at all. And as you can see here, the farmer who manages this land next to us was able to get in about half of his corn, and it was in very late. It's not even waist high over there, and then planted the other half of the field in what appears to be winter wheat. So, you know, on account of the extreme past 12 months that we've had, being the wettest ever in recorded history, it's kind of been tough on farmers who are operating in a conventional manner. The pipeline right of way, walk through the cleared out easement on this side, we can see a field that's gone fallow. It's not being farmed. It turns out that this property has been put up for sale, and sales pending, so we may have new neighbors. This is approximately 40 some acres back in here that's currently fallow, and for a long time this is what our front 4 or 5 acres looked like, and quite frankly still does in large part. About 2/3 of our land is fallow. We knock it down with a brush hog once, sometimes twice a year if we're lucky. So when I initially began the video, I was standing over there by the tractor, and we'll get into these pink flags over here in this road in just a minute. I guess to lead up to that, we'll take a stroll over to this gas well, since there's nothing growing in this field, and we'll notice that the gas well has some fresh orange paint. It's looking good. And part of the reason of the gas well here, and you know what we're seeing with the stone road here, is Columbia Gas was recently bought out by TransCanada, and there's been an influx of money, I guess you could say, that's being put towards right-of-way reclamation, which basically, you know, can be interpreted any number of ways. But as I previously mentioned, this acre and a half or so is actually was 2 acres. Let's take a look at this here once we get to the property line. As I mentioned before, the neighboring farm here, this has gone fallow, and this, while conventionally farmed like the neighboring property next door, has been fallow and not farmed for probably 7 or 8 years, if not more. So the eventual plan is to have this in some sort of silvopasture area, and Right now we've got a blueberry patch here, high tunnel and market gardens in the distance, and then another small market garden right here. Being approached by Trans-Canada and having this access road, one of the plans that we had in the long term was next to the berry patch, possibly a pole barn and an area with a semi turnaround that would allow easy dumping of loads of mushroom compost or volume organic matter, and also have a pole barn here for whatever we end up doing, possibly a small scale nursery or something, and allow freight and shipping in and out, or animals should we choose that route. So they wanted to install an access road, and we're in the process of completing this road, which has been laid in a rough manner with stone, but we can work with that and build on top of it, and hopefully they will be in here and continue laying stone where these pink flags are marked, and that will give us an ideal turnaround for 53-foot trailers, larger dump trucks, or really anything that we need to bring in here for any particular reason, with a solid access point and turnaround at any time of the year. So as we're walking up here, we'll shift gears and move forward in a little different direction. Okay, so taking a look at this access road from a slightly different perspective, coming up the driveway, it would allow the trucks easy access while taking up a minimum of what's a soon-to-be silvopasture, food forest, what have you, while giving us space for the barn and an eventual turnaround right here that's actually on the highest point of this particular land base. And then up here we've got our overgrown weedy beds that are managed by yours truly, followed by the nicer maintained market gardens up in there. And let's take a look at those real quick. So this year, Cody and Ken of C&K Farms are managing things for us, and the gardens are looking really good. This is our oldest garden that's been in production for, I would say, maybe 7 or 8 years. Is looking great. Insect netting's up, irrigation systems are in, and this is popping. Things are going to be looking good here in just well, they're looking good now. They're going to be looking better shortly. So let's take a look at what's going on in the distance there, and we'll about wrap it up with this video. Taking another look at the market gardens from this way, moving up towards the high tunnel, we can see this culvert and a swale. Eventually we'd like to see this turn into a pond. These asparagus beds that are here and have been here for many years will eventually be gone, and then we're getting into what will be this area will encompass approximately 1.5 acres, maybe not quite, maybe 1.25 acres of market production, market garden production on our property. These are tarped, blowing away. We'll deal with that later. Got some shade cloth up on the high tunnel, little benches and processing areas. We'll take a look in here real quick and explain what's going on out there. So coming inside, we definitely have some things started. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what's growing on here, but just take a look around, see for yourself, and then we'll head outside. And all sorts of things that's being moved around and incorporated into beds, and things are being churned up. We are all of this has been tilled up. We're incorporating, lots of wood chips here, grass clippings, everything we can find organic material wise. And actually in the distance there, where those tarps are and where this has been freshly mowed, that area belongs to the neighbor. And what has been nice is Ken has negotiated with the neighbor to keep that area maintained and maybe even grow some crops on there. I think next year we're going to do pumpkins and corn, some sort of heirloom corn, and that's that. So, you know, should that work out in the future, that'll give us almost an additional acre of, you know, some sort of larger staple crop production, if you want to call it that. And we'll have all this cultivated this year. It's been a slow, wet spring, and all of this is actually in its first year right now. So future's looking bright. This was potatoes, and this has just gone to hell. This is what I'm going to bring up the tiller for and work on today. Just turn this all under. This may become cover crops. Not really sure what we've got going on here, but that's not my gig. I am kind of the maintenance man. Ken and Cody are really doing all the work, making things look great. And I guess in terms of the farm update, I'll just do one more quick video when I get back. Take a lunch break and show off the cabin and the barn. But right now, time to get to work and get this turned into organic matter. So speaking of organic material, we were lucky enough to connect with Asplin Tree Service in the area, trimming around power lines, and I approached them with a 12-pack and had the foreman follow me, and all of a sudden, boom! Organic material. I don't know how many box truck loads we have here, but we've got a lot, and it's just sitting here decomposing, and that is what's going in the guards, baby. All right, everybody, just banged out a couple hours of work. Up front, it's about 1:30 or so, and I'm gonna head back up there, let the dogs out, grab a little bit of lunch, and by that time Mom and Dad should be back from the market, so I'll help them unload and then probably get back to work. But in the meantime, figured I'd wrap up the little video update from the farm with just seeing back what's beyond the clearing, back towards the cabin and the barn. So let's check it out. So what we're looking at here as we're driving through the clearing back towards the site of the cabin and the barn is having a swale run alongside the driveway here to collect water that flows from the field and all these high points through the woods down in here, and then possibly right around here having some sort of culvert that runs across like this down to this lower point, at which point would drain into the pond. As you can, it's not too bad, but visually here you can see some rough spots on the driveway, and those are all spots that we will hopefully mitigate with this project involving drainage on the driveway here. I'll just expand on that a little bit because I've got some time before we walk up. You can kind of see this general area. This gets pretty wet, and during the winter time we've actually had a plow truck get stuck here, so it gets a little tricky. So, but anyways, another story for another time. These are the little quarters for our tenant farmer. Here's the pole barn. There's the cabin, Mom and Dad's residence. My residence is sort of inside the barn, although it's really just the office. And then ultimately, the pond. 1 acre of pond back here, the cabin, the barn, and then back beyond there's another acre or so of undeveloped open pasture. Anyways, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. Hopefully we'll be able to make more videos and get some more updates out there. Thanks, everybody.